Hello, and welcome back to our data structures and algorithm series. In our previous last video, we looked into the concept of recursion. In this video, we are going to solve the factorial of a number using a recursive function. As you remember, recursion is actually a method where the solution to a problem depends on solutions to smaller instances of the same problem, and therefore we have the function calling itself. Another thing I want to remind you is that we talked of the three-step procedure in finding the solution to a recursive problem. The first step is actually finding the recursive case. So as we said, you need to understand the problem. For example, the factorial of a number is actually all positive integers that are less than or equal to that particular number. It's normally denoted as n factorial. We learned of two rules, which are 0 factorial is equals to 1 and 1 factorial is also equals to 1. Factorial of any number is simply that number multiplied by all the numbers below it up to 1. So really, if it's 3, then it's 3 times 2 times 1. If it's 4, then it's 4 times 3 times 2, then times 1. And if you look into that, then we are having a pattern, and that pattern can be represented like this, that n factorial is equals to n times n minus 1 times n minus 2, all the way to n minus something that will give us 1. So in this case, this is our recursive case. That is our recursive case. Then number 2 is finding the stopping criteria. So the criteria for stopping in this case is actually when we get a 1. When we get a 1, because 0 factorial is 1 and 1 factorial is 1. So if we get either of those numbers, then we stop at that particular point. So that is step number 2. And the last step is handling the unintentional cases. So remember, n must be a positive number, so it has to be greater than 0. And also, we can only have whole numbers. We cannot calculate factorials of decimal numbers. So we have to check and ensure that really n is an integer. So this is what we had just written, and this is exactly what we want to implement now using Python programming on Visual Studio Code. So let's get our hands dirty. So we are here on VS Code. I'm just going to quickly create a file and give it the name factorial.py, and I'll just press enter, and it's going to open it up. Let me see. Then I'll write a Python function called factorial. So that's how we do a function. It's going to receive one parameter, which is called num. Then I'm just going to press enter. So the first thing we need to do here is to implement the unintentional cases. So I'm going to use the assert function. So assert, then I'm going to do a condition to check if the number is greater than or equal to 0. Also, I'm going to ensure that the number is an integer. So int, then inside it we put the variable, then it should be equal to num, then comma, then the message. So the number must be a positive whole number, just like that. So that's how we handle our unintended case. Okay, then the next thing we want to do is to handle the base case. So how we do that is using again an if statement. We can use we can use an if statement, not a set really. So we said if the number is equal to 1, is equals to 1, or the number is equals to 0, then we want to return 1. Okay, then now we handle the else of this, which is the recursive case. So this is the recursive case. Handle the recursive case. Okay, so okay, so our recursive case should be num multiply by, then we call the same function, so factorial, then num minus 1, just like that. Okay, then outside the function, we can remember we are outside the function by the indentation. So now we are outside the function. We can actually declare a variable called results, for example, then call that particular function and pass it, for example, 3. Then we can print results just to confirm. Okay, so I want you to note a few things here, that we have 4 problems, so you can see it on this problems terminal, and you can actually see it on the status bar on the bottom left here. So we have 4 problems and no warnings. So I've done this almost intentionally so that you can be able to learn how to troubleshoot your code. So we can start with the first one here. So you can see, let's see, if you click on it, we have 4 of 1 problems, and we can go one by one. So the problem here, actually, I thought it would suggest to me what the problem is, but it's not doing so. So the problem here is that I've not used a hashtag for the comment. So there's a programming language I use, and I've been using 2 forward slashes for quite some time. So in Python, it's supposed to be a hashtag. So we can click next to go to the next problem. So this is the next problem. Again, it's just the same problem. I did a wrong comment there. Then here, you can see it's actually giving us a suggestion that after the else, it expects a full colon. So let's do exactly that. Put a full colon, then click on the down arrow here to go to the next. And again here, we replace it with that. And one more problem. So you see, it makes debugging and troubleshooting your code very easy. Okay, so now you're good. So no problems, 0 errors, 0 warnings. Very good. So time to run our code and see how it behaves. So you can run your code by clicking on the top right corner here on the play button. And once we do that, we get the results. So we have the results, which is 6, which is actually the correct results. So please try it out. Just play around with these numbers. Try, for example, the factorial of 4. You normally start with small numbers, the ones whose answer you can calculate quickly. So, for example, it's also giving us 24 for the factorial of 4, which is actually very correct. So try this out and let me know whether you succeed or otherwise on the comments below. In the next video, we're also going to try out another challenge, maybe calculating the Fibonacci of a number. Thank you and see you then. Bye.